Okay, so hi all, good morning or good evening. Welcome to this webinar series on getting started with SharePoint framework. Today's webinar is being delivered by Jenkins, and he will help us understand how we can get the data from SharePoint to be shown in the SharePoint framework web parts. So this webinar will be recorded and then will be shared with you for your revisiting and sharing purpose. Okay. So with that, I will hand over to Jenkins. So Jenkins, please take it away.
Yeah. Uh, Hi everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome everyone for this webinar series. And we are going to already we completed 4 sessions about the introduction about SPFs, and then Nandip covered the setup development environment for SPFs. Then Prasant covered overview of SQL solution, and Vijay covered about shipping the data web to SharePoint, right? So shipping and deploying the solutions. Today I'm going to cover loading SharePoint data in a SPFX report, how to get the data from different objects to, we have different objects, right? We can able to get directly the Node JavaScript framework, or you can utilize React, and we can able to use PNG.js, and we have the different options as well. We can use Angular, we can use Knockout. There's a lot of options will be there. Okay, today we go for the how to be. I'll use two demos. One is how to get data from directly no JavaScript framework, and second one is how to use the React. Okay, it's a simple example I'll show you. That's and I'll share the code also. Okay. Just introduce myself. I am Jenkins. I'm a Microsoft Modern Workspace Solution Architect and also Microsoft MVP and founder and director of JPower 4. I'm a specialist in Microsoft Teams, Power Platform, and the SharePoint framework work. I'm a regular speaker, an international speaker, and a blogger as well as trainer. I'm a SPS Bangalore organization and the AOS bus. Okay, you can able to connect using my email IDs, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, and also you can able to refer my blog posts. I regularly write posts there, and you can able to download the codes from my GitHub, and you can join Facebook pages, and we have the groups of SharePoint framework. You can join there, and you can get a lot of updates regularly. Okay, just we start today. What we are going, I'm going to cover today. First, I can say about the page context. That's a very important part because of whenever it goes, we need to know, right? Because SharePoint frameworks work under the user base. It's not like a any admin can able to give a privileged user and then able to data, right? It's always based on the context, page context, and the current user log, and whatever the related information about that page we can able to get, and we can able to get from one web part to other web part with a service or whatever you want. Okay, and I'll go little bit about the web services, what is that, and what about the SharePoint REST APIs, because of we need a REST API to connect all the lists, libraries, pages to get the data, right? And we have the HTTP client, and we have the HTTP client also. We have the different tags to get the data. It's requested data using the REST API, use JavaScript or React. Finally, I go with the SharePoint data, how to load from the list and show the different examples. Okay. I'll give the time for questions in the end. You can, if you have anything to add, you can comment your questions. We can consolidate it and share to you. Before starting this one, just I can give one more information. We are planning to start a Microsoft Teams webinar series also from May 1st. If you really want Microsoft Teams, I think this is a growing platform. From May 1st, we start from the what's new from Microsoft Teams, and we have the webinar series. Same like SharePoint frameworks, the webinar series also it will continue the whole next month as well. They have the advanced topics we covering. Okay. Okay. Now I'll start from the page context. Page context, I believe everyone knows when you are using SharePoint, you have a SharePoint experience. previously with SharePoint 2013 or 2010, whatever it is, right? Always we need some page context, right? We need where for example, I want my permission, what are the permission available in my logging page? I need to verify. I want to know my URL. I can able to take it. That's all the page context, right? We are now the client side environment. We can client purpose, right? We are not going to use any server development, right? Using for SharePoint online. The page context is very important to know that what's the permission you have, what URL we are right now, and the page context already created on which culture info you want. That's a regional languages, everything we can able to take, right? And the list level permissions, item level permission. If you want to know that information, we can easily get it. And also we can be able to get the user point of view things. Page context provides standard definition for common SharePoint objects that need to share between the client side application, web parts, and other components. Typically, the data is specified as REST APIs. Queries when navigating to a new page, but it can also preloaded by the web server or filled from custom application tags. Okay. Getting the current context using SP HTTP client and based on the page context, and also we have the SP is direct HTTP client as well. Okay, these are two options. I'll show you. When you go for a REST, regularly we use get and post. We need to fetch. We have different objects, right? How to utilize that? How we can use the HTTP client for the different objects. Okay, and provide access to our information about current contacts and greatly extended version of SP page context. I believe everyone know about that. SP page context info. Regularly use that, right? And here the list of items I'm sharing. That's AID info. That's Active Directory, Azure Active Directory tenant info. When you go for connecting a web service from your .NET application or any other application, we need to connect, right? That we need to do the authentication flow. That scenarios you can get AID info directly from your page context, and you can connect to the service. Let's say if your currently page doesn't have the associated Active Directory tenant, then it shows undefined. You need to get the current page context, then you can utilize the AID info. Okay. Then we have the culture info and the is initialized. There's a page context already initialized or not. You need to verify. If you want, you can use that. And regularly we are using site, user, and web, right? The site for the SP site and web SP web. So regularly you can get the URL to connect. If you are connecting a list item or a document library or a page, you can always need the URL. And whenever you go inside, we need to plan for a user-based authentication. After loading, we need to don't want to show some information for some contributor users or like that. We need to some group members don't want to see this information. We need to hide from our web part. Then we can able to utilize the permissions and show the different things. We can use the page context web permissions. We can able to check permission using has all permissions, and if you have any permission like that, you can able to correct. Check if the user have any permission from the collection of permissions, right? And we have if you have the given permission, so like a view page, or you can able to access any permission. You have read permission like that, we can able to test. So using the page context, we can all common data, common related user data, right? The current user data you can be able to get using the page context. We need the ESP page context object you need to import you can use the ESP permission. Okay. And we can see that like first one I'm showing this the context of page context .web. We can use the absolute URL. We can get the URL of the domain where we are from. Whenever you go, my code I'll show you how to use the page context in my code to get the information about the current URL or current permission. Okay. Then the second part we go with the web service overview. A web service, whenever you go for web service, we have another one thing also that we have a graph APIs, REST APIs, right? There's a three things. The web service is all we developed using ASP.NET Web Services. When you go for ASP.NET Web Services, before 1.4.1 SharePoint version, they're not supported directly. We need to write our implicit flow by using ADL.js. For example, one scenario I'm mentioned here, a customer having the existing web service using developed in your .NET application, the ASP.NET or some other application. I want to fetch information from that using that web service from SharePoint Framework version 1.4.1. You don't worry, you can easily utilize that. Let's say it's by default the OAuth is configured with your application. You can utilize the Azure Active Directory and you can get that. Okay, it's like a silent authentication. You can use the AAD HTTP client. You can easily connect to APIs supported by the Azure AD without having implementing OAuth flow through yourself. Okay, but when you want uh, the previous versions, SharePoint 1.4.1 previous versions, right? They have 1.0 from 1.0. That we need to implicitly write the flow by using ADAL.js. Okay. The third one is SharePoint REST APIs. This is an important part. Whenever you go for any data you want to retrieve using our client web path, we need a REST API. Okay. The same way we have a graph APIs to get all the Office 365 related data. If you want to get, then you can go with our graph API. That's the performance is also good. We are going to cover the next session about the graph API part on next week. You can able to join that next week Wednesday. I'm going to cover the consume the graph APIs, how to use it, and I give the detailed information on that. Okay. The SharePoint includes the representational state transfer, the state-based service compared to existing SharePoint client object model. We can use all these client object model here as well in SharePoint framework web parts. Same like what we did in your CSAM market or REST APIs, we can able to cover. Okay. And access to SharePoint resources using REST, you can construct a RESTful HTTP request by using the OData standard, which corresponds to the Reserve Client Object Model API. Okay, I'll show that how to construct the things and with our example. Okay, with both how to use from React as well as the TypeScript. Whenever you call the service, you can be able to see your tenant URL. That is nothing but the domain, right? For example, your tenant.sharepoint.com/API/web, and the same like this site, we have the different objects. You can want to get the list. You can use the bottom. You can mention the URL, right? This example how to look. The same thing I'll show you in my example. Okay, and here you can able to go with the web. They wanted to get the title of the list, or you want to get all the list you want to get a particular list items, get by name or get by ID. We have different options there. And I list out some of the endpoints. You can be able to see here the screen. Retrieve a specific property of the document. Whenever you go for the client applications, right, always you can think about that HTTP OData protocol inside as a request and expose to the output as a JSON. You need to get back the JSON object. You can construct the output, and based on that, you can take where you want to show, where you loop it or like that. All the response data should be a JSON object. Okay. If you want to use the SharePoint REST API, is not only for SharePoint Online, it's any versions you can use. SharePoint 2013, 16, or 19, or previous version 2010 or 27, wherever you can use. That's the reason you can able to get data from SharePoint to other environment like your .NET or some other place, right? But in SharePoint framework, always the user-based information will bring back. If you don't have any permission, it won't bring. Okay, because it's totally page context with the current user. Using HTTP client, so next one main thing is HTTP client implements a basic set of features for performing REST operations against the generic service. Okay, that is when you go with the SP HTTP or class, you can get all these HTTP client HTTP client options and the HTTP client response. You can import that to whenever you are going to use it. Here, if you are ready to use HTTP client and SPHTTP client, in your SharePoint framework of projects, you might have noticed that two types of request method options will be there. Normally, we regularly use get and post, right? These two types request most used ones. Whenever we go with the list retrieving or whatever things, most of the REST APIs we use like that, right? If you go with two types of requests, the most used ones, but when you go with a HTTP method like put, patch, delete, what to do? That's we can have an example, right? How to utilize that. That's I'm showing here. If you need to make calls with other HTTP methods, you want to make use of fetch, which is available in both HTTP client and SPHTTP client classes. The fetch method allows you to specify a HTTP method type per request yourself, right? This is also is behind the scenes when you are using guest and post method. Okay, the background it should go like that. Okay, and when you go for the patch method, same like only it's little bit different, right? Not a much difference on the normal what you are requesting. You hear also the context on HTTP client fetch and what are the REST URL, nothing but your released URL, whatever it is. And we are patching the method. You want to what activity you want to do with the action or using the patch. And the second one is I'm deleting the current item. Based on that, you can pass the request and you get the response and you do whatever you want. You want to send any information to the user, you can able to do. Okay, that's a different space. You can use the HTTP client and the SP HTTP client. Okay, now it come with the loading the SharePoint data. Already in previous classes you understand, right? I believe everyone already attend the previous sessions. Setuping environment, how to do that, development environment, you have the node, everything is installed, ready to do all these examples, right? The SharePoint frame is a new development model. It's introduced in October 2016 is a non-release beta versions, and then it's released in February 2017, right? After that, it's growing because of people, everyone in server-side model. People are slowly moving out from there and it's working on the client-side model, right? It's because of people need to learn the new technology, new model. You need to learn at least TypeScript and React. It's a recommended one. And we have other things also. If you have a good knowledge in Angular or anything, like knockout or handler bar, you can able to utilize. We have different tools we can use it. Okay. The tool chain authentication part, the advantage of a SharePoint framework, a lot of things is silently authenticating, and we have able to use the Graph APIs and Web API access. And but Graph API, considering the Graph API, always you need to give some approval permission in Office. I cover that in my next class next week. Okay, and we have option to CDN ghosting. We have the different options. Initially, we have option only post in our SharePoint document libraries or site assets. Later, Microsoft come with different options to Azure hosting or Office 365 hosting where you want to deploy. Okay, and we have the config experience. We can the package solution. We can able to configure where you want to move everything. And then the other one is the solution hosting, the solution where to host, and your app catalog too. Same like we are already experienced in provider host apps, everything deployed apps, right? Now everything is in SharePoint mentioned as an app. We have the very confident that we need to be able to deploy apps, and you have the web parts or extensions we can deploy. And the components able to get the right application context, we can be able to get from the particular site and particular user. That's we have a lot of comments you can use it. You can get the values based on the permissions. If you want any language changes, everything you can able to do. Using the extension, we can get the current user location and we can update based on that. We can able to do that, and also we can have bring all these top banner, bottom banner using the extension, right? There's a lot of features, and we can able to do inside a list level customization using command set customizer. We can able to do, and we have the final one is tenant-wide deployment. This is a really important one because of one component you develop, you want to deploy everywhere. All the tenant site collection, the same tenant site collection, you can go with the tenant-wide deployment. Just we need to do small changes in the configuration package solution.json file, Then you can deploy it. It automatically creates the item in the list. Like which I believe Vijay covered these things. The tenant-wide deployment list is there. Your item is added. It's available everywhere in the uh, whole tenant site collections. It's available. If you're an extension, then it's automatically display. If you're a web part, you need to add the web parts where you want. Okay, now I'm going to start this demo part. How to create fetch the data using no JavaScript framework, and the second one I will show the React part. Okay, I'll just show you. That's the same code available already. I uploaded in my GitHub. It's able to see, right? This is the URL. GitHub my Jenkins NS slash SPFX demo web parts. You can able to get the both web part code. Okay, anyway, I'll show here. Okay, just I'm opening my command prompt. I go to some place. I create one new thing. Say just demo. Okay. I just created one folder for this application. I believe yesterday in last session you got that how to create it and how to deploy it, right? Using the installations, everything already covered by Nandeep and Vijay, right? The deployment parts. Just if you don't know that, just go refer that videos to how to install the Node.js, how to install Yemen, Microsoft SharePoint, Yemen, also everything. For this example, what I did is I created one SharePoint list to get the values. I already created because we have a short time, right? I can go fast. I need to show two examples. Just I'm logging into the SharePoint site. Okay. What I did is I have a list available. Anyway, I'll show that some of the writings and comments coming. Okay. I created one context list. Just a SharePoint list. I created and added some values here. Okay. Just a symbol value. Okay. I'm going to get the data. How to we can do. Okay. After installing everything, we can directly go and create a new solution, and we can create. Right, it's a web series demo. I just created a folder. Now I what to do is I'll create one more folder with a web part. Right, that's the solution. You can say SPFX solution. Just give the solution name. Okay. And now I'm going to create a new web part here. I think everyone knows that. Okay. It's just creating the new web part. I'm giving the same solution name, SPFS solution, and the online part is the current folder. I can say it's no because of I don't want to deploy from that level, and API is no, and it says the web part. Okay, here I say SPFS type Node.js. Okay, the part name is SPFS Node.js list item. Just as understanding purpose, I added like that, and no JavaScript framework. It's creating a new web part. I believe everyone able to see that screen, right? Meantime, I'll open the Visual Studio to the other code also I can show you. Okay. Now the website is created. Then I can open the Visual Studio for the particular project. Okay. Here you can able to see that I think yesterday that the first website you saw, right? Let's say all the your website details available here. What are the node? What are the components you are installed? That is available in the node modules. If you want to install any jQuery or any other things, it's available here. And whatever the configuration, right? Your deployment, your Gulf building options. So that JSON is where to build everything. It will load with a local workbench or your server workbench. I have the package solution is to deploy in your app. We get the client XML file also together and deploy in your app folder. Okay, and we have the config JSON. It's the configuration you want to change. Uh, these are the things you use the configuration side, and we can go with the project. If you are selecting a node, the JavaScript framework, right? Let's say you have the three files we created. One is by default, it's come like a basic output is the rendering with all these core, and we have the styling part. It's create whatever you have the styles available, and with using the SP Fabric core. Okay, and we one more thing is the JSON part. It's a configuration about the particular web part. When you go to the code, what I do is I'll modify before modifying. Just I'll run and show you how the outer box looks like. Just you can go with Gulf, sir. It will open in the workbench. Can add the web part, able to see the web part, right? You can able to add and we can say welcome server. That's a standard message available from our code. Okay, I'm stopping the execution and go back. The standard message available, right? And whenever it goes to the web part, we have the properties. You want to add what are the properties, you come under this get property transaction. By default, we have one property called description. If you want to learn more, I can share my URLs. You can able to get that. For example, I want to edit some properties, you can get the same like what we do in our SharePoint. SharePoint server 2013 or 2016 or 2010. Same objects is available. Okay, now what I do is I'll just change the code. What are the things I'm going to change? I'll show you. Okay, first you want to understand that you want to all these things are basically coming. I want to cover access my HTTP object, right? This is using the SP HTTP client to get my request using my REST API. And I need to understand where the environment is, okay? Because what I feel is I need to bring the local data to test it's okay, fine, or my UI is looking good or like that. We can verify, okay? Just I added these two import objects. Here I can add in. Yes. Okay. That's the only one is for connecting the HTTP client, and the second one is for environment type to identify where is it. Okay. I am in the local or I am using server like that. Because I am planning to use one mock mock HTTP client because I can get some output from that. Okay. To understand when you work on the workbench. I show both difference. Okay. I create one file, the same place. TS. Just a TypeScript page only. Yes, I can create one class here, importing that's already there, available there. I'll show you. Here, first I can come with this one, the description part. Here, what I do is I export the interface. One interface I'm creating because I have 4 columns in my list. I added it's normal standard interface, right? I can create a 4 columns with the object, and I'm exporting that value as a array. Okay. Just the 2 objects, this ISP list. This is just a interface with a SharePoint list. The name is like that. And I created contact number, contact name and country, and contact person. It's the 4 columns available in my SharePoint site. Okay. Now I have these objects available in my mock clients. Save. And what I do is I can get this file name. Okay. Because of my copy code is different file name, that is free. That is save all, and I'll come here. Now I got that object, right? Object is ready. I want to get the value from my REST API. It's using from my list. Okay. That for that I can using first I can do a mock value because of I want to know if I know data. I want to test my styles, everything, how it looks, and look and feel, and the alignments, and my responsive part, everything you want to verify. I use from the my workspace itself, right? No need to deploy in my app and everything. This I'm doing from one mock list data and added in my export that class. Okay. That's the mock list data. What are the objects we are having? We have the list item. I added 3 data. The same class available here, right? We have the present yours and promise object. You can get the values back. Okay. And I can then I go to the get list data. I can getting the data from my list. I'll show you. Yeah. Here only I'm getting using the page context. What are the we discuss the page context and SP HTTP client, right? Here I using the get word. I talk about get, verb, fetch, and we have the different verbs available, right? Here I'm using get because I'm getting the data, and I use the page context to get the URL of that's the domain where I'm coming from, and from there I can get the context list. I can say where my list is available. Okay, I giving the contact list name and get by the REST service. Okay, the REST service, the items I'm passing. Here I'm passing the configuration version 1 because the configurations are changing. That's the reason we are adding. Okay, and from there we can see I'm getting the client response and return back the JSON. I already told, right, what are the requests goes to the SharePoint server, it's returned back to the JSON object. The response.json we getting back. Okay, then I can get the values and I want to display the value. I need to form the values, right? First, I can get this value which value I am from. I am from my workbench or I am working with my SharePoint site. I can differentiate using environment.type or environment.type.local. If you're local, I getting the value from the mark list. Okay, and render the list. I can use the render list. I'll just check how the display my values to use the looping and create one array value to convert as a HTML. Okay, that point we can get getting the value, passing the response value and loop it and make as a construct as a HTML object. HTML inner HTML like that. Okay, the same way else if it's not in the local, you are in the server, right? That part I am directly connecting the data from this get list data. Okay, what are the values from here? Because you can see the difference. The get list data is available. I'm calling and then response. What response? And based on the response, I'm constructing. Same way here, I'm using the get mark list data. From there, I can get that's a static data, right? Whatever available, I put here, it will return back. Okay. Here you can see the style. I want to change the style because I want to display my own designs, right? Always you can convert your CSS to SCSS, just a container you want. Other than that, no, nothing is there. Just I'll show you. What I do is I'll replace this thing because of I'm using my own styles. Okay. I used my own styles. I added a container, table, row. That's a simple table structure. Okay. And I got this one. Now I want to import that class already there, right? Okay. I'll see. Once come here, you can see the object and container. And here you don't want this one, right? Because of I bring all these designs dynamically. This is a standard welcome message we got once we executed the workbench, right? The welcome SharePoint everything. Just I'm removing that. I believe you understand that from the render list, what I did is just I create one table with that header. After header ready, then I can looping the value what I'm getting from my list and forming the constructing the HTML. Okay, just the rest part. Just copying the code from here. This is simple code only I have. Because of I'm just getting the HTML construct from there, and I'm calling here. Okay, but this is the only thing I need to change because of the class name is different, right? Okay. Now I got the rendering part, everything. Okay, now we need to go and execute, right? The same page itself we did, right? If your React is totally different, I'll show you. Here I can going to execute. I believe everyone understand what I did is first I imported the classes. I want to connect to my REST API and I need to understand where I am my environment to differentiate is a mark data or something to verify. I used my another class here to create an object to mark data. Then export the class, create one interface. From that interface, I create one array. To what are the columns you want, I can make it array and display, get from the JSON object and display the data. This I'm executing. Now the workbench is loading. Let's see. What happens? One second. The mark data I can refer here. Right? Oh, only one thing I missed. I not call the object. Why I need to execute right before I need to do. I want to call. Okay, that's asynchronous call in my rendering object. Once I done this construction, before that the rendering will call. Right? It's not nothing happened because of it's not executed. Right? Now you can able to see the value here. The mark data is available in my workbench. You can see the local workbench. Here, what are the designs you want? You want to be able to modify everything you can able to do. Then what I do is just I can go with my site. After executing, still my Gulf is running. I'll go here, my site. I use my underscore layouts /15 slash workbench, right? Workbench.sps. Now I'm getting from data from my SharePoint site. Okay, still I'm not deployed because of whatever the testing do. If you want to go with the extension, obviously you want to deploy the app, then only it knows. Or you can use the debugging process, right? Same like that. Here always you use the workbench to test everything. First level of testing, you can use the mark data. Second level, you can go with directly with the particular site, and you can able to see your uh, web part. Okay, I am selecting the web part. Now you got the real data from my list item. Got it, right? Okay, I believe people understand that. One second, just summarize and go back to the next one. What are the things I did is, one is I imported the classes record to connect my REST API, and I can validate my environment. Second, I imported the mark class. I created one mark ICP client class. From that class, I can utilize the object I want, which type you want, and I can get the mark data and process it using the promise object. Okay, then you can go. I created one interface to what are the columns I want to bring. If you want multiple columns, different properties you want to assign, able to do that. Yeah, because of mark data, for example, I'm working in my local environment. I don't want to mainly for design. That time I use the mark data. Design styles, everything I can verify before touching my SharePoint URL. I do all my thing in the local environment. You can see the local environment. This is a local environment, right? Local 432, there's a temp workbench. Here I do all my styles and everything. Then I can connect using my server. So initially we don't have option to do in my SharePoint site. We need to create one workbench in my SharePoint document library, and we do the testing. That's a lot of things happen. After that, Microsoft introduced this one. Before that, we have only option is mark data. There we can create that. Okay. And finally, I can get the mark data process. I looping everything and I added the values, and I get the values from my service. This is a simple code to get the REST APIs. Then I can asynchronous call and differentiate where on the load. And the second part, I can construct the value of the response value. What are the value got from my request to the Sherpa REST API getting back. Okay, and the rendering the value rendered back to the sys user. Okay, that's in the web part. Okay, here are my HTML construction loaded, and I call the rendering asynchronously. Any update happen, it will bring that. Okay, that's it. And you got the output here in my workbench. Once so whatever we learned from last week, right? You have to deploy everything. You deployed and you can able to add as an app, and you can use as a web part in your site. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more web part. Create it. It's a very far. We have a limited time. I'll do that. Okay. That is, for example, if you want to go with one more report, the same solution, what you need to do is just create one more report from there itself. No need to go outside. And the same solution, I'm creating one more report. I'm going to use as a React one. Okay. The same process I have to use in the React. Okay. I'll go fast and show you. For React part, because I'm getting the values from I created web part, I give the name says SP list item React. Yes. So the name is SP list item React JS description, and I go with React. You can able to press the page up and down by key, and you can move that and React. Moving the React. For React part, I want the uh, sorry, jQuery part, because of I need to connect the REST API. Okay, using the jQuery as an Ajax model. It's creating anyway. I'll show the code. Here you can see if you have multiple web parts, you can able to see like that. Okay, I have one web part is Node.js and second one is the React. Okay, you know, understand, right? Always React come with the one more folder with the components, because the React, what are the React components is you can create from here. You can do all the component objects from the React. Tomorrow, to this class, you can go. I think Srikanth is going to show you detail about the React, how to use it. This Siddharth. Siddharth will explain how to start from React using the SPFX. Okay. Because of time, I'll show you fast with the code. What I did is just first one is I get the URL from my webpack class. That's the same only it will create. It's no difference on the ES file. That's the TypeScript should be there. What I added one new value I get back to the from the user says absolute URL using my page context. Okay, because I need the URL to connect my REST API. Okay, that's one part I did. Then in this page I am not did anything, just added one thing. I added, other than that, the class where you are calling from there I can include it. That's okay. Okay, I'll go to that. Now this is the only thing I did. You can able to see here, right? No difference on that. And I can add one React document. This is, you need to element you to render from the React. Okay, you can go to my React class. Here what I did is I created one interface to get all these column names. Okay, from that I can take as a state, and the items I can bring here. Okay, what are the class state will be there in the default. Okay. Then the component did mount you can use from the Ajax object is in jQuery. I am connecting using the my current URL taken from my uh, base class TypeScript class, right? The TS file. There I'm passing the value. That's the current URL I'm getting. Here, one more thing I can add at the jQuery import because I installed the jQuery here. You can see the jQuery because I need to call the service using the jQuery. Okay, I can use the contact list and the same process only React handler just state and get the results back. Okay, I got the results. Here I have not did any mark object because of small things. Okay, and added this result back. Okay, here one more thing is I did the CSS same like that. All the CSS converters as CSS. Just I added all the custom CSS here. Okay. And the React object, you know, right? The class name. There you use class styles in the dollar. Here I using the styles dot. What are the class name for from the CSS? Okay, I construct the header first. Then I want to return back, right? I get the value from the Ajax response object. I'm looping the value inside the return object. I get the value. Once you got the return value, this value is back to the class file. Okay, it will come here and you can get the output from the rendering part. Okay. Other than that, yeah, this that is only available here. Okay, that's I can just run it and show you. I believe everyone understands, right? Any questions? Yeah, we can cover the questions in 2 minutes. I'll show you. Okay. One second, I'll take my sample. I'm ready. Uh, yeah, the workbench I can see now two apart because we have two, right? One is Node.js and one is React. I can select the React now. How will the header will be there? Yeah, now it's loaded. You can see the object, the header is because the rendering part, right? What I did is I can always is render the header. Okay, you can see the header. Always I can return back the header. Only this value is available, then only this return will execute. That's a basically we are in the workbench. We are able to see the header there. Okay, I got the header and the things. Once to go with my workbench, I can refresh the workbench from my site. You can see there also you can get two web parts. Here Node.js and React, right? I can select the React. You get the real value from there. Now we understand what's the best because of a lot of benefits in React. You can go with learn React and work on it. You feel that you can have multiple components, but whenever you go with multiple components, you can create inside the component and connect with your web part. You can like a MEC model. We can easily bring the all different files to connect everything. Not like a Node.js. Node.js, JavaScript framework always like a traditional one, right? It don't have a classes like that. Much like React. We can get a lot of benefits over React. We can go using the React. Okay. Now I understand, right? It's just to summarize the React part. What I did is, okay, I created the React. You can able to see two components and as well as the normal web parts TypeScript file. There I can you added the I get the URL, just a URL. For this function, I don't want to do any other things. Based on your requirement, you can add. You want to any page context, you can get it from there. And go to the components. You can see my class is there, description, and current site URL because of the class I want to get passed to my REST API. Okay. and I install the jQuery and jQuery UI for this Ajax process. And then I can construct the value. That's not the big things. The small construct the value with the state, and I created one interface for the same my what are the columns available. It's the same thing only, no difference on that compared to the previous example. Only difference is here I use the React object. Next class you can get more detail about the React. Now you got the solution for both React as well as Node.js taking the data from SharePoint and loaded, and you can able to see, right? For deployment, you can, I believe last class Vijay told about different way to deploy. What are the things you need to do is just you can move the your app in your app catalog. That's available once built. You can able to see here. Okay, for example, I can say bundle, then I can able to say able to see. Other class, I can show you some other likewise, you can get the solution. You can see all the values here. You can see the app. This I will change the see 1 second. It is running, right? Yeah, then. Okay, you can see now in our web series itself. That I executed. Yeah, we can get all the values in the SharePoint part. For deployment, I believe last week they told, right? We can get the value from this SharePoint folder. That app, this is renamed that. Let's say normally it looks like app. Okay. SP app KG, I think so. Yeah. Okay, that file you need to deploy one in the app catalog, and then you need to deploy your code where you want to deploy. Your CDN should be Office 365 or Azure or your document library also fine. But mostly recommend this Office 365 you can deploy. Microsoft provides the option to deploy that bundle 6 Gulfstar bundle -6, and also we have one more option is package solution, right? Then you can deploy. Last, if you have doubts, you can go and check the previous video, the previous class video, to get all the details. Okay. Any questions? Now I'll open my question.